Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, we need to talk about something. There's so many brands, and I'm not, you know, I like brands, I like makeup brands, but there are so many brands and things keep coming out and changing and trends are changing constantly, that sometimes we just kind of forget some brands exist. So I asked all of you over on, what did I ask on? Like Threads is still a thing. Instagram stories. I wanted to know the brands that you like just don't care about anymore. You know, it's like favorite TV shows. Sometimes we go off them, sometimes we love them, sometimes they just get boring. Like Lost. Do you remember Lost? That went on for about 12 fucking years. So we're gonna talk about a few of those brands today. Just before we get into that, if this is your first time here, hi, my name is Robert. I'm a professional makeup artist here on YouTube and also in real life. It's my goal to help you become a pro yourself, or just someone who's really good at makeup. Do consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment. If you don't know what to comment, just comment algorithm, because that's what you're helping me with. Okay, let's get into it. So the first brand that I kept seeing coming up, and this isn't right or wrong, because it's just people's personal opinion. The first one I kept seeing was a big surprise to me. I kept seeing Fenty. Fenty kept coming up. I think with Fenty, it kind of exploded onto the scene in such a huge way. Everyone had very high expectations. Well, did they? Because it was a celebrity brand. We got high quality. Whatever we were given by Fenty was incredible. It was great. The shade range, the foundations, the primers, the SPF, everything like that was such a good product that now it kind of seems like they aren't really doing anything extra. I did see one comment in particular saying that they are bored of a brand because nothing new is happening. They're kind of bored of their foundations, they're bored of their concealers, and I kind of blame that. If this was like a different time, like maybe 5-8 years ago, we would be cool with a brand not releasing too much stuff, you know, like kind of laying low, having their hero products, their foundations that are incredible, and that's what you go to Fenty for. But now we live in this kind of like, you know, everything's so fast paced and brands are releasing something new and jumping on every single trend whenever they can. And although a lot of us don't want that, a lot of people get bored when brands don't do it. We haven't seen, you know, like an eyeshadow palette or eyeshadows come out from Fenty that's actually kind of good. I did like their little click ones, but that first one they did was terrible. We saw some like glosses and stuff like that, but it was like the same range as their normal glosses. I still have like high expectations of Fenty. I still think they're gonna come out with something that's gonna be amazing. I feel like their venture into skincare maybe was a little bit unnecessary and they should have focused a little bit more on perhaps giving us more makeup, you know? You know what'd be great for Fenty is like an eyeshadow system. You know, like how Inglot do, where they have all these individual eyeshadows and you can put them in your own palette. I think that would be a really good idea for Fenty, but they really do have to perfect that eyeshadow formula, make it a little bit more than it was before, not in terms of price, but in terms of quality. People have been waiting for Rihanna to release new music, and now they're kind of waiting for her to release new makeup too. She can't win. Poor Rihanna, she's a mother, leave her alone. But I have a feeling we'll see something good from them. They got the budget. Let's see what happens. So a lot of you are so bored of the luxury brand makeup. Dior, the other one, Gucci, something else. I kind of agree and disagree, right? Dior kind of went viral with that chalky blush because everyone was like, oh, it's what Kylie Jenner's makeup artist uses on Kylie Jenner, and it turns out it actually wasn't or something. I can't remember. It was terrible. It was the worst blush I think I've ever used ever. But I love their face and body powder. I love their highlighter palettes you can get. Dior do some beautiful, beautiful products. Lancome do some beautiful products. Their concealer, serum concealer, beautiful. Gucci, here's the thing with products like this, right, is we're, again, in a time and place. Their makeup can be very affordable, but very good quality. So when we see a really high price point, we're like, you know what? I can actually get something cheaper that's better. Like Gucci's bronzers, the worst bronzer I think I've ever used in my life. Horrendous. It was muddy, it didn't blend, it was awful. It was just such a horrible, horrible formula. I'm like, I spent money on that and then I end up using my ColourPop one. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point in investing in something really, really super high-end like that? You know what? There are some incredible high-end makeup brands that we don't really know much about or aren't as popular that are really, really good quality. But it's the fashion houses, that's the word, fashion houses, where their makeup is a little bit like Dior, and is it Chanel too? Like, why do you still have packaging like this? Why do you still have that little disposable wand in the thing like it's the 1950s? you know? And the packaging, is it Chanel that do this kind of packaging? Yeah, it's Chanel. Like this packaging, it looks like it's some white label brand from eBay. Like someone's ordering, drop shipping it from AliExpress. Like the packaging is terrible. And the eyeshadow isn't even that great either. Like it's nothing mind blowing. You know what I mean? It's literally the name. And I think that's really disappointing. If you have the money to make a really, really good product and you have this big name, make the good fucking product. People know they can get quality, and even drugstore brands make higher quality products because everyone is like so into makeup at the moment, they can guarantee that they're gonna sell. Whereas before, drugstore brands used to hold off a little bit. They used to do the very basics because people weren't that experimental with makeup. But now they can invest a little bit more money, they're getting more money, they can make amazing products. So I'm sorry, but a lot of the fashion house makeup just doesn't cut it. Okay, Benefit, right. Benefit have done a good thing where it comes to they're the go-to brand for eyebrows, let's say. You know, you can find a pencil, a pen. What else do Benefit do? Stuff. But I do think they're, so a lot of you mentioned that you find that, again, they haven't done anything new. It's kind of boring. You're kind of over their aesthetic in general. And I have to absolutely agree. This whole pin-up, like, is really boring. It's really boring and old-fashioned. Have I mentioned this before, that I just wish Benefit would completely have a bit of an overhaul in terms of their branding? This pink pin-up kind of situation is kind of cute, but then you can also do it in a different way where you make it a little bit more exciting. It's kind of clever the way they've done it because you can look at a Benefit product or box and not see the logo and know it's Benefit or Soap and Glory. But it's getting kind of old. And I do think they're in line for a revamp. They've had this whole like vintagey aesthetic for a really fucking long time. A really long time. Back when I was a teenager and I used to buy some of their stuff. It's like, I think it kind of looks a little bit childish as well. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with pink and everything as an adult, but the packaging kind of gives like my first makeup, my first eyebrow play set, my first threading station. You know what I mean? Like it's very childish, and like you would look at it and think, okay, if I'm gonna buy makeup for my 11-year-old and I want it to be nice quality, Benefit, because it's fun and funky, as opposed to something like MAC, which is more sleek. Maybe it's my algorithm as well, but I really don't see them online anywhere. I was really surprised to see Charlotte Tilbury come up a lot. Often I feel like I'm alone on my own little island when it comes to not enjoying their products. You see so many people talk about them, but from reading through your comments, a lot of you are just sick in general of seeing it. It seems to be one of those influencer pushed out brands that people use a lot. Charlotte Tilbury are very good at involving influencers within their marketing and involving Charlotte Tilbury herself for some reason. I do see what you're all saying, where it's kind of like it gets pushed out and pushed out and pushed out and pushed out, and the products aren't actually that great for the quality. I even bought one of their eyeshadow palettes. I think it was like a David Bowie one, and it was just limited edition. And I was just like, this isn't it. Why is this so expensive for this mediocre makeup? Don't even get me started on the Magic Cream. Magic Vaseline. It's not Vaseline, it's the texture. It is one of those brands that gets to a point where it's like, okay, bring it back a little bit and then bring it forward again in a few, because we need a break from you. We need a break from everybody telling us how amazing something is and then it not being. And that's not really the brand's fault, that's kind of the influencer's fault, let's be real. I think like new age influencers don't understand that if somebody sends you PR, you don't have to say it's good. I recently featured a foundation in a video and said that it wasn't worth the money and that it was a nice foundation, but for the price, I wouldn't pay that much. And they messaged me, I was like, thank you for featuring it. And I was like, you're welcome. Like brands aren't gonna automatically hate you. And if they do, then they're not a brand worth working for. Calm it down. We don't have to be licking bum holes anymore. And then last but not least, Bobbi Brown. This one came up a lot. And actually I saw a new release from them recently, and it was Bobbi Brown and the Powerpuff Girls. And it's literally just for packaging as Powerpuff Girls, and then it's like all these neutrals, like their normal line. Bobbi Brown isn't exactly a wild brand in terms of color and stuff like that. It's not like the known for being exciting in any way, but it's good quality product. That's the thing. It is nice product. But I think it comes to a point where when a brand only caters for a certain age group, let's say, it does become a little bit outdated. And then trying to do something exciting like a limited release with Powerpuff Girls and then just putting the blandest product into it is kind of a bit like your audience for that product has to be either like a Powerpuff Girl collector or a Bobbi Brown collector. Two very specific things, and you can't really collect Bobbi Brown because everything they release is the same. And I think it's a really great brand to look at if you're like getting married or need something very neutral but really nice and a good quality for a wedding. I think it's very old fashioned to stick to one kind of, our brand is this look, because nobody cares anymore. Nobody wants to be told how to use a makeup product to achieve a look that they want. It's not a case of like, use Bobbi Brown and everything you do has to be neutral. It's a case of like, if they want to use Bobbi Brown, they'll use the eyeshadow on the lips, they'll use a blush on the lips, so they might use a blush on the eyelids. Everyone is more experimental with makeup. So brands that kind of have a personality of being flat, Bobbi Brown. A lot of you mentioned Charlotte Tilbury, the same old looks, Estee Lauder, Clinique, Clarins, kind of flat lines, and it's like, oh, you're not very fun, you're kind of boring. Okay, that was a brand. Let me know below any brands that you're just like, you don't care about anymore. You don't even have to have a reason. Sometimes we don't have a reason for just going off something. Thank you for joining me. Consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.